Right, mobility overhaul 66, and with this run of mobility overhauls, we're going to be focusing, we're going to be pairing two big muscle groups up and getting some quality time spent on them rather than doing full body, touching on a bit of everything. We're going to get some quality time. So we'll be doing multiple exercises, if you like, for each muscle group. So this morning, all you're going to need is your lacrosse ball or whatever you've got that's hard, and then resistance band or towel. Okay, if you've got a resistance band, preferably a thicker one, but if you've got a thinner one, you can easily double it up. And what you'll also need this morning for the, not right now, but soon, is a means of raising your feet. Okay, and just to show you what I mean by that, a means of doing this. We don't want something too high, we don't want something too low. So coffee table, chair, sofa, wherever you find yourself, I'm sure you can be creative. Right, the glutes. We know where the glutes are, your butt cheeks, okay? We're going to do our classic glute smash. There's no better way of doing it than with the lacrosse ball. And all I want you to do is simply sit on the ball. Sit on the ball, and you're going to find that you've got a lot of weight in your arms to begin with, okay? Because I don't want to put too much weight on yet. What I want you to do is big circles, the entire area of your glutes. What I want you to do, and what the area I want you to avoid is, don't creep up into this meaty part here. See just where your pelvis is as you approach your lower back. I want you to stay away from that because we're going to be isolating that area next. The high glutes, if you like. So for this first part, we're going to be spending a good, probably I would say 5 minutes, a glute. So for the first part, I'm just going to start with big circles, just working the entire length of the glute and trying my best to stay relaxed. Okay, now you'll find areas of low pain and you'll find areas of high pain. I want you to try and bookmark all those little areas of high pain or potential areas of high pain. Okay, and what I mean by that is, as we know, sometimes it's not quite high pain until we start getting stuck into it a bit more. So once you've kind of identified the main areas, I want you to pick one, preferably the one that feels the worst or an area in which you're feeling it's quite tender. Okay, and then simply start working it. Usual process, okay? I'm doing my right glute. You might not be able to see, but I'm doing my right glute, which means you're going to see me moving this leg a lot. And the purpose of that is I don't want you copying me or mirror imaging me. I want you to move your leg and move your body into better positions and try and find the best way to smash that area that's feeling pretty tight. Now, I'm on what I would say is quite a large, tender area. So I start off simply by scrubbing, okay? And we know that scrubbing term by now. It's just simply getting on the painful area, the tender, tied up muscle tissue, and just start rolling big little circles, okay? I say big little, as in you can go big or you can go little. It depends on what area you're working with here. Now, I've got quite a large area that feels tender, so my circles are pretty big, okay? Up and down, side to side. And the idea with the scrubbing, I'm just trying to increase the weight, get more and more pressure onto that ball. Focus on your breathing, okay? I want you to try and relax. Now, if you've got it right, it's going to be probably an area of high pain. It's hard to relax when it's painful. So what I want you to make sure you're doing is focus on your breathing and try to just imagine that the ball is sinking completely into the glutes, because you'll find if it is that bad that it'll only be touching the surface because your glutes are tensing up, whether that's conscious or subconscious. To some degree, your brain will stop, try to stop at least you putting a lot of weight on here. So it will. If it's painful, you'll find it just tenses up a little bit. So I'm working that area, I'm scrubbing it, okay? And again, rather than end up at the other side of your living room, get your hand under there and move the ball if you need to, okay? So it saves you ending up at the other side of the room. Now, what I'm going to do now to get more weight on here is I'm going to drop to my elbow, which just takes a bit more weight off my arms and gets more pressure onto that ball, okay? Pretty simple, pretty simple. Now I've got lenses here, there and everywhere. So if I'm looking at you and it looks like it's a bit of a squint, you know why. So I'm still working that same area. It's quite a large area today. Big powerful muscle group, the glutes, okay? We've got a lot of work to do in them. They get tied up tight. That tightness feeds into the lower back, starts pulling on that lower back. The lower back starts to get tight. Okay, so this is a great one this morning. If your lower back feels tight, great, okay? It's a great one for you today. So up and down, side to side. The goal is to be able to get pretty much all the weight you can on that ball without feeling like you're fighting it too much, okay? So I'm scrubbing the hell out of it. It's pretty damn nasty, okay? Now, I've spent at least 2 minutes on that quite large area. I know there's another area further down, so I'm going to move now. So I want you to work at your own pace. We've spent at least 2 minutes. I'm still on my right butt cheek, okay? I'm still on the right glutes, but I'm just going to go down into that other area of high pain that I found, and I would encourage you to do the same, okay? And we waste no time. We waste no time. So don't break yourself in gently too much, okay? Don't start, I'll just take it easy just now. Try and get stuck on there as much weight as you can. But remember, the goal is to stay relaxed. So I've got these bigger circles going on. This is probably a more isolated area I'm on now. It's feeling pretty tender, but on the one spot. So I'm going to get really into it. Now remember all our techniques. We've done this a lot. If you're new to it, I'll talk you through it. Squeeze the butt and relax the butt. Contract, relax the muscle tissue. Okay, that's going to help break it up a bit more, help get in a bit deeper. Don't forget, okay, we can smash and floss by moving this leg around while pinning that sore spot, okay? So anybody that knows how to swim, if you know how to breaststroke, bring the knee up, kick it out, give that action a bit of a go, and that'll help just break it up all the more. Or bring the foot up, or I'm just giving you different options here. Bring that leg across and pin it onto the knee, and you'll find that that opens up the glutes more and lets you get in a lot deeper. But what you need to watch is you don't end up tensing up and fighting it, because this, when you do this way, pretty nasty, okay? It's pretty nasty. And remember, add the weight slowly. Add the weight slowly to the ball. Don't just try and go too fast too soon, because otherwise you'll just fight it, and we don't want to be fighting it. Okay, now your triceps, if your arms are getting tired, that's normal. We are putting a bit of weight on them, but as you can see, I tell you what, that is pretty nasty. So I'll give you the 2 minute count. You've got 2 minutes left on this area that we're working on, 2 minutes left on the right glute. Okay, so if you're on the left, opposite. We're going to change to the other butt cheek pretty soon. So this is why I'm telling you, get stuck into it, make the most of this time now. Okay, try to put some goodness into this. And remember, use the hand to move that ball around if it starts to go ski whiff. Don't venture down onto the hamstrings, but remember, I'm not being cheeky, but the butt does cover quite a large area. So get right down into the bottom of your glutes as well. Okay, and you'll find there's probably a good bit of tender muscle tissue down there. And on the outer glutes. And we will be venturing into the high glutes, but that'll be our next mobilization drill that we're doing this morning. Okay, so I'm really getting into it now, getting all the weight down on it, smashing it as best I can into the foam roller, into the ball. Remember, the more pain that you can tolerate on this, the more you get out of it, you really do. But it's sensible pain, right? I'm going to tell you to relax there. I'll always tell you after that, because that probably was quite uncomfortable for most, stand up, get a breather, get a wee sip of water if you like. Just let the blood flow back through your body. And then set yourself up, and we're just simply going to do the exact same on the other side, okay? So it's down to you to make the most of it. You know me by now. I'll talk all the way through it, but I talk to you like you've never done it before. If you know what you're doing, get stuck in. So first of all, I'm on the glute. I'm on the fresh glute now. I'm just going to do the big circles, work the perimeter of my glutes, as in all the way to the outer hip, right down to the very bottom of the hamstrings, and then right in to the butt. Work the big circles, and then start to bring the circles smaller. And all I'm doing is just working the entire length just now. Just trying to identify, first of all, where's sore. Areas of low pain aren't really concerning me this morning. I want to find areas of high pain, as in, if I put a lot of weight on that area, it's going to start to hurt. Okay, and I want you just to identify the worst ones. I would probably say the worst two. Now, everybody's different, okay? Your glutes might be pretty supple, but I'd say 95% of us on here doing this class, you're probably going to find a lot of areas of pain. Now, I've found one. Again, similar position to the other side, but not necessarily, okay? So don't just go looking in the same area, but chances are you'll probably find it's equal. So I'm on there. I'm being proactive. I know I'm only going to spend 2 minutes on this sole spot that I'm on, so I'm not going to waste any time. I'm going to scrub. I'm going to start getting more weight down on there. That ball's going to slowly start sinking deeper and deeper into the glutes as I get more relaxed and can tolerate the pain more. And I stay on ground zero. Okay, if it feels sore, if it feels tender, but there's a bit just to the side, it feels worse, get on the worst bit. Okay, and remember to smash and floss. Pull the knee up, bring it out. Try a bit of breaststroke action, bring the knee up, kick it out. And that is not pretty, but get it done. And then again, another good one is just simple, as if you were reading the newspaper. Get that leg up and that'll just open up the glutes completely and allow you to really get deep into them. You'll probably find out of them all this is the worst, okay? But that's why I'd wait until you spent a bit of time doing a bit of scrubbing before you get right onto it. Try to relax, and I would say to you, focus on your breathing, because that gives you something to focus on. Don't focus on the pain too much. It's hard not to when it's overwhelming, if it is. Okay, so now I would tell you, start scrubbing the entire area again, start just rounding the whole area, and move on to that next area now, okay? So we really don't waste any time. As soon as you find that next area, for me, I'm just venturing more on the outer glute, a wee bit further down. Oh. And I'm not really moving too much because this is a bit more isolated. Okay, if I move to the left, it doesn't hurt. If I move to the right, it doesn't hurt. But if I stay on that spot, it's agony. So you might find sometimes that tender area covers quite a large area in which your scrubbing is going to be larger. Okay, you're going to do bigger circles, bigger side to side, bigger up and downs. But if it's very isolated, you want to try and stay on that spot that's the worst. Okay, and that's nasty. That is nasty. But I'm sure, as much as it hurts, it's hurting in a reassuringly good way. As in, you know it's got to give some good's going to come of this, okay? And that's why you just got a lot of people will just fart about and just roll about on the foam roller, and it feels nice, okay? And that's okay, but you're not getting much from it unless you're absolutely going for it, which is what we're trying to do on these classes. Right, that is us. Glutes done. High glute time, everybody, high glutes. So we've got the glutes, we've just done the glutes. It's as simple as we're going higher up on the glutes, okay? Just where the glutes start to feed into the pelvis. Simple way to look at it is you've got the crest of the pelvis. See if you jam your fingers in there, you'll feel your pelvis bone. When you're lying on the ball, you'll feel your pelvis bone, trust me. We want to be underneath because we want to be on the glutes. We don't want to be above the pelvis because then we're feeding into the lower back, which is the next one we're going to do. So I want you to start here, right on the meaty part, and you'll feel the pelvis, you'll feel the bone just off to the side of your tailbone. And I want you just to scrub along and along and along and along and along, right to the outside of your hip, okay? And that's a slow process, okay? That's the area I want you to work on, that band of muscle tissue just underneath your pelvis. That's what we're going to work on now, okay? And I want you, rather than just going side to side, we start and it's little, small, isolated scrubbing. So this is when we're going to elevate the feet. Why? Because it's going to let us get more weight down onto the ball, but also it's going to stop us overextending that back. So if you lie flat without the ball, the purpose of putting your feet up is you shouldn't be able to get your hands underneath your lower back, okay? So if you lift up your belly button and let your hand slide under there, that's what we call overextension, okay? If you can get your hand underneath there, you've overextended the lower back, and that's what we want to avoid. So I get my ball, and all I'm going to do, use the hand, rather than wiggle around, use the hand just to get it nice and high up on the glutes, just off to the side of the tailbone, and just start scrubbing. I want you to identify these landmarks. Okay, there's the tailbone, I don't want to be on that. Okay, if I go up a wee bit high, all right, there's the pelvis, I don't want to be on that. You'll know you're on it, because it'll feel not nice when you're on the bone, okay? So I want to be just underneath the crest of that pelvis, pushing up in, using that crest almost as a wall to jam that muscle tissue into. And all I'm going is side to side. So I'm still on the glutes. The high glutes, it's as simple as that. The highest point of our glutes, right at the pelvis, okay, just below. And I don't want to venture onto that lower back. So as you can see, I'm just scrubbing side to side, up and down. And rather than starting to put my body into stupid positions, just get your hand underneath. Move it across a wee inch until you start to feel pain. Now, what I would encourage you to do is move around your position, as in this knee, bring it up, get more weight down onto it, scrub it, open up the glutes a little bit more. Trying to get as much weight on here as you can. So you can see I'm now starting to twist. Now, I wouldn't be in a rush. You'll find that you might not feel pain as such. I wouldn't be in a rush to just move through to the next area. What I would recommend is that you try and get as much weight on there, scrub it as hard as you can, and just make sure that you are getting in to that deep muscle tissue, and I'm pretty sure you'll find something. Okay, as soon as you find an area of pain, you know the drill. It's the same as what we've just done. So remember, I want you to use that pelvis as your landmark to follow, and it should just feel that if you let that ball roll up, you hit the pelvis, okay? It doesn't have to roll far and you've hit the pelvis. We don't want to venture back down onto the glutes. So play around with your position. Little scrubs, left to right, up and down. As soon as you hit an area of high pain, do the work. Get into it. Now we're going to be spending a good bit of time. So if you get an area of high pain, don't rush over it, get stuck into it. Play around with your body position. Bring that knee up if you need to. If that makes it better, good. And just remember, play around with the position. Just move the ball ever so slight with the hand. Now your core, your stomach. Okay, see if you start prodding yourself in the stomach, you shouldn't lose your finger. We should be keeping a bit of tension on that stomach. Not too much, okay? Not like I'm holding a crunch. I'm not getting tired, but I'm just holding a bit of tension on there. Oh. To stop that lower back overextending over the ball. That's something I don't want to happen, okay? So we're getting there. Now for most people, you will find as you start to get more out it, oh yes, as you start to get further out towards the outside of your hip, outside of your pelvis, that's where you see where you get that big meaty bit, you'll feel it, you'll feel yourself hitting it. That's what we're going to find some pain and discomfort. Remember, I'm trying to stay nice and close to that pelvis. Don't start venturing down, because otherwise if you do, we'll just do in the glutes again like we've done before. So be creative with your position. Don't hurt your lower back. Don't put it into overextension. Try to get as much weight onto this ball as you can until it feels like you've got as much weight as you possibly can and you're scrubbing the hell out of it, okay? And stay on those high glutes. Feeding all that goodness, okay? That's all we're doing. We're loosening up all that muscle tissue, creating a bit of slack, okay? And that's going to feed down into the glutes, but also it's going to feed up into that lower back. So if that lower back's feeling tight, oh aye, this is a culprit area that we want to be smashing. So, just to give you an idea, I'm right out in the outermost side of my hip almost, okay? Getting onto a right meaty part of muscle tissue, and it feels like hell. I'll give you another minute on this side, everybody, so make the most of it before we change on the other side of our glutes. So like I said, be creative with your position. Just protect that lower back. 30 seconds, work it, get it done. Good, and relax there. Right, if you need to stand up and shake out, by all means do so. But it's as simple as we're going to move on to the other side now. Okay, we're going to move on to the other side. So, same again, feet elevated, reset your position. You want to feel like your core's nice and flat and you can't get your hands underneath. Then I'm going to get my get my ball, hold on to it with the hand, and just move it around, okay? So there's my tailbone. I want to be just off to the side of it, okay? And it won't feel very nice. It won't feel very pleasant. There's the pelvis, okay? I can feel the bone because if I roll onto it, it doesn't feel nice. It's just, I wouldn't say it's painful. It's just not pleasant. And then I'm going to start scrubbing. So I'm scrubbing just off the center of that tailbone. I've identified the pelvis because if I roll up, I hit it. And I want to use that pelvis, okay? That's my boundary line. That's what I want to be working on. side to side. Some of you might feel a bit of tenderness in there. If you do, you know what to do. Get stuck into it. Whoa. So you're going to have a good 5 minutes here, so make the absolute most of it. Don't shy over. You're looking for areas, high pain. High pain is what we're concerning ourselves with, not low pain. So this is a very isolated area that we're working. So your scrubbing is going to be pretty small, okay? Little side to side, little up and down, little circles. Move the ball a wee bit with your hand just every now and again. Make sure you're in the best possible position you can be. If you're feeling an area of pain, lift the leg up, get more weight down on it. And just make sure you don't let that ball venture down back onto the glutes. We're trying to work these high glutes. So remember, we're just below the crest of that pelvis. And if you need to just check, if you let the ball roll up, you should not have to go far. An inch at most, and you hit that bone. Now, as you start to get out onto the outer glutes more, that's when you're going to have to start changing your position. You're going to have to start rolling with it, okay? And you're getting more weight down on there. Again, change the positions of your leg. See if you can open it up a bit more. And then check with your hand, just move it up a wee bit again. Make sure you're not rolling off the ball. So quality time this morning, quality time, rather than just getting a quick 2-minute smash on each bit. We're really going to put the work in. Very important area we're doing this morning. You always hear people moaning about their lower backs being tight or sore or pulling out the lower backs. Prevention's better than cure. Okay, if you pull out your lower back, I recommend doing what we're doing now, as in the whole class, the full thing. But try not to let it come to that. If things are feeling tight, catch it early. But this is just one of these areas that's just always going to get used and abused if you're exercising, especially if you're pushing your body hard. So by now we should be starting to get on those outer glutes, right onto that meaty part. And remember, just keep checking that you're not venturing too far down. You're just trying to get as much weight on there. That's always the goal. Getting as much weight onto that ball as you can and scrub it. Keep going, keep concentrating. Last 30 seconds, everyone. Last 30 seconds. Be proactive with it. And you will get a lot from this, a hell of a lot from it, believe me. So we'll be combining the mobility work with the flexibility, but we're going to get all the mobility work done first, okay? And then we'll smash out. We've got 3 mobility drills, that's 2 of them down, so I would tell you now, get up, get to your feet, get a drink of water, shake out, get the blood flowing back through your body. It might all be in your head, or it might be, you might be feeling doolally. Get up, give yourself a shake, squeeze those glutes. See if you can feel some goodness back into them, okay? Squeeze them. Do they feel like they're getting a right powerful squeeze? Good, okay, that means you put the work in correctly. Right, okay. Exactly the same. Oh, geez, oh, I'm away down here. I keep forgetting. Oh, right, exactly the same technique, exactly the same principles that we've just applied to the high glutes. Now, we're going to move on to the lower back, everybody. Okay, so before with the high glutes, we were working high on the glutes below the pelvis. Now with the lower back, we're working just above it. Okay, now we're going to be starting exact same position we were in before. We're going to be starting, remember, we don't want to be on that spine. We just don't, okay, common sense. Off to the sides, you're going to find those big, thick QL muscles, okay? You're going to feel them. If you jam your fingers in, Sometimes they can be that solid that they feel like bone. These are big, thick, dense muscle groups, okay? So it's going to take a wee bit of time. All I would say to you is that's where you're going to be starting. You might lie on it and it just feels solid, almost like bone, and you think, oh, this area's all right, so I'm just going to move past it. All I would say is get on it, scrub it, put more weight onto it, keep scrubbing and scrubbing and scrubbing, and see if you can just start to break further deeper. See if you can get deeper into them, okay, before you just move on, because a lot of people, they're jammed up that tight, okay, and that's usually the area which people pull out when they pull the lower back. So don't just skip past it. Spend a bit of time trying to break into it, and remember, it just takes a wee bit of time. I'm struggling with my words this morning. It takes a wee bit of time to relax that muscle tissue and get right in there. That's all I'm saying. But we're trying to start here, and exactly the same. Just start working our way out, all the way out until we get to the outer hip. But we're always working above the crest of the pelvis now. So if you let the ball roll down, you should hit the bone as opposed to rolling up like we've just done before. So let's get in that position now. So we're raising our feet. Remember, we do not want to overextend that lower back, okay? We do not want to be hurting ourselves. So I'm getting the ball. I'm simply going to use my hand, right? There's my pelvis, right? Before I was at the bottom of it. Now I want to be on top of it. There's the pelvis. Feels horrible. I don't want to be on the bone. I don't want to be on my spine, right? There's those big, thick QL muscles he was talking about, okay? And you might feel them, depending on how big they are, you might feel the ball just popping off and on them, okay? Now all I would say is, you can see I'm supporting the ball because I'm trying to keep it on there, because when I scrub, they just go and the ball falls off them. So all I'm going to do is, like I say, a lot of people, they're jammed up that tight. These things are solid, okay? But they're a big, strong, powerful muscle group anyway. So to penetrate them, we're going to have to get on there and scrub side to side, up and down. And remember, hit yourself in the stomach, and you should not wind yourself. Keep a bit of tension in the core muscles, okay? We don't want that pelvis to start tilting. We don't want to start that overextension, okay? So I'm putting more weight on here. And if you do find pain and a bit of tenderness, same drills as always. Scrub it. You're trying to get in deeper. You're trying to break it up. Just be careful of that spine, okay? We don't want to start knocking off of that thing, okay? Protect that spine. Don't foam roll the spine, but I would like to think that's common sense. So if you feel you're getting on there and it's feeling pretty like it's starting to loosen off a bit, try to get more weight on it. And one way of doing that, so I'm on my right side of my lower back, okay? So I can lift that right leg up, and suddenly I'm getting a hell of a lot more weight down on there. Okay, so again, play around with your position. Pull that knee in, keep scrubbing. How does that feel? Up and down. Don't forget the up and down, especially on knees. Okay, big muscle group. But don't venture too high up the back. We're trying to stay nice and close to the pelvis. We're trying to work that lower back area. So I'm spending a bit of time on these QL muscles, just jamming them. They don't feel too bad for me. It doesn't feel nice, but certainly when they say it's high pain. But if it is for you, work on them. So now I'm just going to move out a wee bit. So I'm going to start following that pelvis, okay? So I'm now off the QL muscles, so I'm going to start tilting with my pelvis. And I'm going to keep scrubbing, okay? And don't forget, just keep trying to get in a better position. Use the hand, move the ball. So if you let the ball roll down, you should hit the pelvis, and you shouldn't have to go far to hit that pelvis. So all I'm saying that for is I don't want you to end up venturing too high up. Now, if your lower back is tight, all I would say is really take your time. I said it at the start. Get on it. Start to put more weight onto it. Try to relax. Little scrubs before you move on, because you might find if it's jammed up that tight, it's going to take a bit of convincing to relax and get in there. There's nothing wrong if it's feeling like quite an isolated area. There's nothing wrong with just getting on ground zero of that pain and just pinning it to the ground, pushing into that ball hard, tiny little scrubs. Really take your time. And this is where you have to concentrate on these, okay? Because if you don't, you're going to end up in the wrong place. Now try to relax as best you can. Okay, good. We're going to have another minute
on this side. So this is where I would start saying to you, you should be probably, I would say, about halfway
to the outer, or if not, pretty much near the outer. And this is where, again, follow the pelvis.
Okay, it's not a straight line. You're going to find that it's, you know what the pelvis looks like. Think of that as skeleton.
Okay, so it's curving up.
Again, try your best with your positions. Now you'll find the pain's different here. Pain's different here. But it usually is in different areas of our body. And I just want you to work that entire area. Last few seconds, I'm just back on those QL muscles again, giving them one final smash.
Good. Right, relax, take the ball out, relax on the floor, give yourself 10 seconds just to breathe, and then we're going to change sides, everybody, okay? So, it's simple really, isn't it? So we've done 3 different mobilization exercises this morning, but they're all very similar, okay? And that's the beauty of it. Okay, so now I'm going to get the ball, I'm going to put it on the other side. So now I'm on the left, I'm away from you now on the camera, so you won't see it. So I'm just holding it with my hand at first and just gradually putting a bit of weight. Right, does that feel like the right place? Oh, no quite. Right, okay, there's that big, thick muscle group he was talking about. I don't want to be on my spine, but I'm fairly close to it. Oh, okay, now, remember, keep the tension in the core. You don't want to start letting that lower back curve. We don't want that curve of the lower back happening. So this doesn't feel nice. And remember, just fine tune it. It's a big, thick muscle group. It's going to take a bit of work. So if it's feeling tight, just little smashes up and down. Put a bit more weight onto it, little smashes left and right. Good. You know the crack. Get it done. Work it hard and get the best out of it you can in these few minutes that we're doing it. Don't rush.
Quality time. Just have a wee explore. If you're not quite feeling too much pain, just have a wee mooch about, and I guarantee you'll find something. But with this area, it just takes a wee bit more work to get deeper in. If it's jammed up tight like a lot of people are. And all we're doing is just trying to break up that tight tissue and just make it nice and pliable, nice and supple, like it should be. Don't venture down. Stay just above the pelvis, especially when you get to the outer. Whoa. Last 30 seconds, okay? So I'm just going to move back on to the centre, work on those QLs for the last 30, because that's what's feeling tightest for me, that's what's feeling tender. So make the most of your last few seconds. Right, relax, relax. You can chuck that ball away. Hooah. Stand up, catch your breath. Not that you're breathless, but let the blood flow. Right, okay, let's get into some stretches, everybody. So, first one we're going to do. You don't need the band, I'm just getting it out to the side. First one we're going to do is a simple one, okay? A lot of us, because we all get jammed up tight in that lower back, in that lumbar region of the lower back, we lose the ability to flex the spine there, okay? So some of us, we can flex the spine here, no bother, but down here it just jams up tight and it becomes just this thing that's straight, okay? We should be able to curve that part of the spine all the way around, okay? And that should curve nice and easily. But it gets jammed up tight, okay? So with a combination of what we've just done, smashing the muscle tissue, we're going to lie flat on our back, okay? And all I want you to do, and be careful with this one, what I don't want you to do is this, okay? Because that's just going to put a tremendous amount of pressure on your lower back. So what I want you to do is lie flat, and I want you to reach up and not grab the knees with the hands, because you don't have the power in your hands. I want you to get a big bear hug, okay? And then grab a hold of your wrist. Okay, grab a hold of your wrist, pull the knees in to start with. Now you can see my upper back, my neck's off the ground. I don't want that, but what I don't want to do, and the reason I told you not to, is I don't want to just roll back, because that's going to put a lot of pull on what's potentially a very tight area, which could hurt you. So then all I want you to do is try to get that head back, and eventually get the rest of your upper back down. But I want you to pull, and you need to pull these knees in. Now think about the area that we're working, it's that lower back. Okay, now I am trying to flex it, I am trying to curve it. For a lot of people, it's a very tight area. You might find that you're sweating here, you're struggling to breathe, it's uncomfortable. So, if that's the case, big breath in and big breath out. You focus, pull those knees in more. Okay, just try and remember, we're holding this. We're not easing in and out of it. We're not shaking out for a rest. This is a 2-minute hold in which I'm trying to go further and further and further. And I want you just to imagine your tailbone. I want you to imagine your tailbone is slowly, slowly working towards the ground. That muscle tissue is becoming more relaxed, but as it is, I'm pulling my knees in more, okay? Big breaths. Now that was feeling pretty tight for me, and I can tell you now it was quite hard to get the shoulders towards the ground. But as this is progressing, I'm starting to feel the shoulders start to sink towards the ground more. So it's working, okay? It's slowly easing off, and that's what I want. Remember, I'm trying to take it further and further and further. It's not the most comfortable of positions. So focus on the area that we're trying to work here, the lower back. We're trying to curve that lower back, get that flexion into the spine, and return that range of movement. Okay, and it's these big muscle groups that are probably jammed up that's limiting that. Last 30 seconds, go for it, okay? Really go for it. Keep a good solid grip. Bear hug of these knees. You might well feel the core working a wee bit here, okay? It depends how tight you are. But try to relax. 20 seconds. Good. Now I want you to slowly come out of this, okay? And what you probably might feel is it almost feels like your hip flexors have jammed up, okay? They've just been crushed. We need to let the blood flow, and we move carefully. Now all I want you to do, just to counteract that, is roll onto your front. Roll onto your front carefully. Okay, imagine that you're at the bottom of a press up. So hand here, just outside the shoulders. Then imagine your hips have been glued to the ground, and all I want you to do is almost like a dorsal raise up. Push the hands in. Be careful here, okay? I just want you to stretch that area out. Do it carefully, introduce it slowly. Don't be hurting yourself here. Now, if your core's tight, you might feel a good stretch up there. And then I just want you to, pardon me, release. Release there, okay? And then come back up again. Now, don't throw your head back here. I don't want you to throw your head back. Try and keep your head fairly neutral. And lift back up there. Boom, okay? And that just helps stretch everything out that was all crushed up and folded up while we were bringing that lower back out.
Okay, now I want you to stand up, but stand up carefully. Okay, stand up carefully. Just before we get into the next one. See how things are feeling. Okay, see if things are feeling like they're flowing just that wee bit better. Right, next up, we're banded spinal rotation. Another common one that we find ourselves doing a lot, especially in the flexibility classes, because it's a damn good one. Okay, I would call this a full body stretch. We're getting a lot of muscle groups involved in this one. Okay, we set ourselves up as if we're doing the hamstring stretch. If you're not familiar with this one, all I would say is watch, but most of you are. So I'll quickly show you this way so you can see exactly what's happening with my body. I'm putting the band around the ball of my foot. If you don't have a band, a towel will work, but a band is better, definitely for this one. Biggest one with this, you want to make sure that you've got plenty of pull on this band. So if you're holding it away up here and there's hardly any tension on that band, you're missing out on a lot of it. So I want to pull up and I'm going back as if I'm going into that hamstring stretch. Now you can see that right leg. Yep. So I'm going to cross here. I'm going to cross. I'm keeping my legs straight. Okay, this leg has to be straight. Don't bend the knee. This position alone for a lot of people is very uncomfortable. Now what I want you to do is get your hand, so I've got my right leg stretching out. I want to get my left hand, get a good pull of that band so there's plenty of tension here, and I feel it, it's horrible, okay? I won't lie, it's horrible. Then I want you to simply take your other hand, bring it up, slowly, 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 try to get that shoulder pinned to the ground while looking across in this direction here. The other leg is just relaxed, but this one feels like hell, okay? Depending on your ability, depending on your experience, should I say. But I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it coming from the calf, I'm feeling it into the hamstring, I'm feeling it into the hip, I'm feeling it into the glutes, lower back's getting it, obliques, chest, shoulders getting it here, so much. Now what you have to try to do in this one is achieve a state of relaxation. It feels uncomfortable, but all my muscles are relaxed. I'm twisting away from that foot as best I can. It's a great stretch, this one. Great for the lower back, taking a lot of tightness away from the lower back. But also it's a good one to test yourself. It lets you see where your mobility is progressing. So if your chest and shoulders are tight, you'll struggle to get that arm straight and you'll struggle to get that shoulder pinned to the ground. If your lower back and obliques, etc. are tight, you'll feel it. You'll feel all the strain here. Okay, for me, more than anything on this one, I'm feeling it in those hammies, going into those glutes. Now, if you feel that you're fairly relaxed, we're going to hold it for another minute yet. I want you to try and get this straight leg and lift it a bit higher, but only if you've achieved a state of where you feel like it's not too bad. Lift the leg higher and try that. That'll add a bit more tension. The knee must be locked out. It's more important to have the knee locked out and be stuck in this here where you can't get the hand out than to have a bent knee and get to the ground with the arm. Keep the tension high on that band, pulling those toes towards you. That's the purpose of the band here. It's letting us lengthen all this hamstring and glutes and calves out. Good. And then I want you just to simply release the tension, lift yourself out of the band, and sit yourself back up. Okay, and then we're just going to have, again, a quick breather, and then change sides again. So, a damn good stretch, that one. And a damn good one to use at your disposal. Good stretch, but also a good one to use to assess your progress with how things are for your full body. So I've hooked it around the ball of the foot. I'm back as if I'm doing the hamstring stretch. I'm on my left leg now, so I'm going to let that leg roll across to the right. Then, left leg. So right arm, I'm going to grab this band as close as I can to my foot straight away before I've even started twisting. Feeling it, okay, feeling it. So I've got that set. And now I'm just simply going to try and twist. So if you get to here and you start to feel you can't go further, you hold here. You try to take it further. What you don't do is bend the knee and bend the arm and end up looking like I am now. Okay, that's a no-no. You're wasting your time there. So keep the legs straight, pull that band, plenty of tension, twist. If you're not there, focus on your breathing. Eventually you'll get that shoulder to the ground. And then once you're there, it's a case of pinning the foot, pinning the shoulder, pinning the hand, and trying to find a state of relaxation within it. And keep checking to yourself.
Is my knee straight? Is my shoulder pinned, or is it trying to pin? Have I got plenty of tension on that band? And this is where you'll be able to identify areas that need work. So what feels tight? What feels like it's limiting you getting in this position, if anything? Keep plenty of tension on that band. Pull it more if you need to. Lift the leg a wee bit higher if you can. We're nearly there. Good. Slowly relax, release the tension out the band. Slowly start to lie back onto your back. Sit up, get rid of that band. Oh, it's been a brutal one this morning. Oh, right. Right, finally. You either hate it or you love it. Enhanced glute stretch, okay? Enhanced glute stretch, a damn good one. Why? Because we're getting a lot from it also. It's also going to let you see any problems you've got. So, it's familiar to us all, but I'll show you again like you've never done it before. All I'm doing, I'm getting this leg out 90 degrees. As I look at it, it's a 90-degree bend. I want you to get a hold of that foot, and when I say get a hold of it, I mean get a hold of it, pin it to the floor, and then all I'm doing, it's almost like I'm trying to get into a full press-up position while I'm pinning this foot to the floor, okay? And then from here, the goal is to get this knee back to the ground and keep this leg at 90 degrees. That's goal number one. So I do that now, and what I would recommend you do, see this hand? Put it in front of your knee so that your knee can't slide forwards. So I've pinned the foot, and I've pinned that hand to stop that knee, and then see that back leg? Kick it behind you. Kick it behind you as straight as you can, and it's completely rested on the ground. Now, for a lot of people, that alone is going to feel like hell. All I would say is, just like the last one, you're trying to achieve a state of relaxation within this. So rather than be all like, oh, this is hell, everything's all tense, everything's all fighting it, try to. Now this side for me, this is my good side. For some reason, this side's always feeling no bad. So I can get straight down onto my elbows, okay, and I can really push down, and I'm feeling it. Where am I feeling it? Right in the hip capsule, right in the glutes, maybe even a wee bit in the groin, okay? But I'm pushing hard down into it. Feels like hell, but I'm getting on it. Okay, it's my next side. It's always jammed up tight, and it always takes me a wee bit longer to get into this position we're in now. So be creative, okay? Once you're in this position, try to get lower. Change the angle. What I'm not doing, even though it will look like I'm fidgeting, what I'm not doing is easing in and out. I'm moving around looking for little pockets of tightness in the different angles that you see me moving in just now. And just twist around, try it. All I'm trying to do is find areas that need work while holding that main stretch. So I'm not easing in and out of it as you see me moving. I'm enhancing, returning to normal. God, this is timed perfectly. We've got one more side to do and then we're done. The perfect hour. So the purpose of the reason why we're spending quality time and I'm pairing the muscle groups up is so we can put more time into improving the whole area rather than just getting one area of that. And it's the accountability, okay? It's the fact that, right, I want you to relax out of that. It's the fact that we're all here, we're doing it. Okay, for me, I certainly wouldn't, I said it before, I certainly would not do this off my own back for as long. Okay, sure, I'll smash the glutes for 2 minutes or something if they need it, but I'm not going to take an hour out of my day for myself to do this, even though I should. Some people can, some people will. Good for you. Okay, but this should be high priority stuff. This, but for most people, mobility goes down the hill, down the list of priority. Exercise always comes before it. Okay, that's not me saying it should, it shouldn't. Okay, absolutely should not. We want to be looking after these bodies so that we can keep doing what we enjoy doing. So again, first part, as you can see, this on this side for me, this is hell. Okay, just holding this position now, it's tight, it's feeling tight. All I'm trying to do with that back leg is push it straight behind me. I don't want to be off on a corner kick. Okay, so it's feeling tight. Yep, I could go to my elbows just now, but it would be far too overwhelming. I'd be shaking, it wouldn't be relaxed. So I'm trying to achieve that state of relaxation here. Pushing down into the ground, imagining that hip is sinking towards the ground. Now it's starting to feel like it's easing a bit, so yep, I can get down a wee bit lower. And I encourage you to do the same. Everybody's different, okay? This is one of my nemesis. Some people will be pretty supple on this one. But the idea is, just like any other, you've got your starting point of the stretch, you've got 2 minutes, and you're trying to take it further than the starting point. And while you're in it, move around in the stretch. Try to mobilise yourself within it. Look for pockets of tightness. Just try and stretch them out. Good. And then I want you to slowly ease out of there. Oh. Okay, and I want you to simply stand up. And hopefully, after all that, your glutes, I don't know if you can see me, hopefully your glutes and hopefully your glutes and your lower back are feeling that they've had some benefit there to that hour. And if you put the work in, and you were proactive and you focused on those areas of high pain and you smashed them and you tried to tolerate as much as you could, you absolutely will be feeling a benefit. Remember with this stuff, it might feel a little tender, a little achy, a little bit, sore to touch the next day, just as it would if you were getting a good intense massage. But it'll repair, it'll recover, and hopefully you've restored some order back into that area. Thank you very much. That was Mobility 66. Glutes and lower back, a great area, okay, and I recommend it. It's probably one that I would recommend that you pin. You bookmark, you hit onto your favourites, whatever you're watching this on, keep it there for easy access, because if things are starting to feel tight, we don't want to be hurting that lower back. We put a lot of goodness into the lower back there in that hour, so for those people with lower back issues or tight lower backs, etc., you should hopefully have felt the benefit to that one. Thank you very much and have a good day.